Hey guys and occasional girls, my name is GrrrVahrrr and this is Of Orcs and Men. Wow, last week of my life sucked in terms of gaming. First I tried playing Max Payne 3, which turned out to be a freaking movie interrupted by 2-minute long Max Payne 2-esque gameplay sessions. Then I tried Divine Cybermancy, looking for an old school Deus Ex-like action RPG, but after 2 hours and 1,000 enemies killed by a single headshot, I felt so bored I wanted to start cutting myself. So finally I ended up finishing Of Orcs and Men, a dull generic RPG. And by generic, I do mean generic. I'm trying to remember a more uninspired RPG and I can't, regardless the fact that I play a whole lot of them. In something like Baldur's Gate, the whole storyline of Orcs and Men would be a single quest, and yes, the main character is an orc, but Warcraft 3 explored this idea to its deeper ends, so it can't be called new in any stretch of the imagination. Well, there are two main characters, an orc called Archael and a goblin called Styx. Together they're on a mission to kill the Emperor of Humans that enslave and slaughter poor orcs. And that is the story, you have one goal and a couple of dozens little barriers between you and it. There is no point in describing any of those barriers because the game is as linear as it can get. On your journey you are presented with choices that change nothing, so there is always only one way the story can progress.
You'll pay for this, you son of a bitch! I'll get you someday! Oh shit, what the... Oh shit, I can't believe it! Help! Fuck! A bloodshot! Help!
You can't even call it an RPG, you don't exactly do any role-playing. Archael is always an honorable orc hero no matter what you do in the game. Yes, you can choose to be a slightly angrier or selfish or focused on a mission orc, but regardless the result will be the same. There is zero variety in the process, it is not like you are even allowed to go full-on bloodthirsty maniac killing every NPC you meet, or a bastard that betrays everyone for the sake of killing the Emperor.
Punishment. The disciples of the Grand Inquisitor are quartered in the chapel. That scumbag kills my children. I kill his. I want to hear him wailing over the corpses of his disciples. That's what I want!
There's something seriously wrong with this guy. Let's go.
We got no choice.
His plan is completely insane. Do you really think the Inquisition will leave after something like that?
They are burning and torturing my children!
Speaking of a bastard, Archael's pet goblin Styx is also pretty one-dimensional, a selfish greedy sneaky goblin with a heart of gold. So when you need to make a selfish greedy sneaky decision, he will be the one taking it, because that's how the dialogue system works, preventing any significant character development.
Relax, children. Relax. Your experiments. Why? You and me, we're talking now. You ever talk to a dog or a horse? Enough. Okay, that's it. Too late, buddy. Nothing personal. You know, just business.
A little bit more about character development. It is just laughable. It starts but never delivers. For instance, on your journey you meet Archael's father, who was a clan leader who sold his own clan to slavers in order to save it from being massacred. Archael is pissed naturally, but it kinda ends in, "I did it for you, Archael, for the clan." Oh Dad, it is okay if you say so. No drama, no enlightening monologues, no sacrifices. After his dad helps him with organizing a slave rebellion, Archael's hatred towards him never comes up again, assuming that his actions redeem him. But it is so robotic and unemotional. Being an orc berserker, you can't even punch your dad in the face when you meet him.
I am the head foreman. There's work to do.
You're right. We'll speak of our problems later.
Don't be too sure about that.
When it comes to Styx, being a kinda secondary character, he gets even less attention. He's the only sentient goblin in this universe, others are just mindless beasts, and when in a shitty dream sequence it turns out that Styx was an orc mage that became the first goblin, simultaneously giving birth to a bunch of other goblins, Styx's reaction is...
The dream? That's a good one. I was an orc, I became the first goblin, and I fathered the rats? That's not a dream, it's a fucking nightmare.
And it is never ever mentioned again. Archael also gets a bit of screen time in the same dream sequence where he gets to choose whether to become a master or a berserker, conquering or giving up to the rage inside him. The choice has no effect on the story whatsoever. By the way, according to video gaming law, every generic RPG must feature at least one obvious betrayal. Here we got two, one minor and one major. The major one is the funniest one. You see, Orc Rebellion is funded by an extremely rich and influential human aristocrat whose only motivation is, I love orcs. I'm dead serious, he's sinking a ton of gold into the rebellion because he thinks that orcs should be a proud and free nation. Of course he's gonna betray you after you kill the emperor in order to take his place, you idiots!
You are a great people. A lot of us respect you and want peace.
The moment of betrayal, however, is kinda stupid. Why? Because a second before killing the Emperor you are presented with a choice, to kill him or to spare him. This choice makes no sense, not a single time you're even hinted that the Emperor is just a puppet in someone's hands. Not once anyone even thinks that something fishy is going on. Archael has zero reason not to kill him. It is such a gamey moment, a choice for the sake of choice, and it also makes no difference. If you spare him, Archael will be telepathically forced to kill the Emperor so the plot could proceed in its linear direction.
But, no, wait, Greenskin!
Oh, and since the game is the final boss, it delivers by giving you a convenient hidden visitor who doesn't even have a name. Couple of hours before the end you are told that he's called the Zealot, and since you burned his apprentices alive, he's kinda pissed. But he's never a menace. Before the last battle you only really meet him twice, when you burn down the chapel and when he chases you in a couple of cutscenes. No one even remembers about his existence for the most part of the game.
The Zealot?
Voice acting is tolerable only for the main characters, but for some NPCs, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's bad.
You don't betray Sarkis. Not him.
You don't exactly have a choice, buddy.
This is his place. You're gonna fail and he'll take me out. I'd rather die.
But what's even worse is the writing. Don't get me wrong, it is mediocre like everything else most of the time, until you get to this point.
We've gotta be able to do something.
There is a quicker way, but it is worse than the ill itself. Rape. You must rape her consciousness. A psychic rape. You must force a passage through her spirit, discover what ails it, and make her accept it. One way or another.
There she is. Shit, she doesn't look good. What do we do?
She has to go inside. She has to go in the cell.
You sure about that? It doesn't really seem like the most outstanding idea you ever came up with. And it's not like you've...
I trust my instincts. You got a better idea? Just remember, psychic rape. We've got to get her to accept what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Come on, Hawkins. Get in there.
Yeah. Guys, really, what the fuck? Okay. Of Orcs and Men. It is one of the most linear RPGs I've ever played, if not the most linear. But even RPGs with a single ending still give you a chance to roleplay and get to the goal the way you want to. That is where the replayability comes from, but there is not a single reason to replay of Orcs and Men. No matter what choice you make, the result will always be the same. There will always be some stupid excuse to stop things from sustaining even mild changes. You can skip parts of the story as far as I understand, but what the RPG player skips XP and loot? So yeah, the story is not the strongest part of this game. However, even if it is kinda hard to admit, the gameplay, despite also being generic, kinda carried the game for me. Basically, the only gameplay feature of Orcs and Men offers you to squeeze some fun from is combat. The whole game consists of a series of instances, 95% of which are just corridors. No kidding, just hallways with a couple of monster encounters in them. Locations that the action takes place in are not diverse as well. Not much you can do with corridors, I would imagine. So you get city slums, caves, catacombs, and a couple of generic castles. God, I feel bored even talking about that. Levels, by the way, are divided by incredibly annoying invisible walls that bug out all the time. Your characters can only cross them together, but more often than not, even if they are together, they will just stand there assuming that they are far apart from one another.
I can either guide him or betray him. But I can't just leave the big guy on his own.
And don't scout too far ahead with sticks, because checkpoints are also bound to these invisible walls, so after passing a certain point you will be autosave despite the fact that there is a room full of enemies behind you. Enemy variety is crap as well. All you get is several types of humans, couple types of orcs, wild goblins and dogs, which is kinda poor for an RPG, and on the course of 11 hours they all blend into a grey incomprehensible goop you stop even noticing. The combat itself, as you would expect, didn't sustain any significant innovation as well, as if the developers thought doing something different would curse their families and infect their children with bubonic plague. It has a distinct stale World of Warcraft stench coming from it, which is like what, 10 years old? The only difference is a pause feature taken straight from any Black Isle RPG and a couple of additional gimmicks. Archael is a standard WoW warrior class. He has a rage bar and 2 stances, defensive and offensive. The third one got lost on its way from WoW. His gimmick is, if the rage bar fills to the full, Archael will go berserk, forgetting about defense and attacking everything on the site, including sticks, who in my case died more frequently from Archael's attacks than from any other thing in the game. Styx, on the other hand, is a standard WoW rogue, dagger, stuns and a bunch of debuffs. He also got ranged attacks since they couldn't squeeze a hunter into the game, but someone has to deal with crossbowmen on the ledges. His major gimmick is a stealth stance, which he can use before the battle starts to stealthily kill unaware enemies, and I have to admit there is nothing more satisfying than slitting a throat of some poor sword, but the stealth in this game is so bad it is kinda entertaining. You see, enemies will only react if they see you killing someone, otherwise your stealth can't be broken, so they will just walk over corpses of their fallen comrades, not giving a single shit. That transforms a stealth element into a puzzle element where you have to dispose of as many enemies as possible before your stealth will be inevitably broken, after which you get into a basic WoW aggro based combat, but instead of Holy Trinity you get shitty duality of only tank and DPS. If you have ever played any MMORPG you will instantly know what to do. Instead of hotbars you get radial menu designed especially for consoles, but it takes seconds to get used to. The only redeeming thing about the combat is that it is not easy. Maybe I'm a total nub, but I had to plan out every fight, trying to use all abilities I had to their full potential. Just imagine doing an instance in WoW without a healer. So yeah, I'm totally nostalgia blinded here. By the way, you level up quite often, so all you nerds who like to put points into stats and skills will definitely find some enjoyment here. Stats, as you would imagine, upgrade your characteristics directly, while upgrading skills after purchasing them would give you a choice between two possible options, both of which are pretty useful most of the time. So the choice depends on your very own playstyle. Bear in mind you come through a spec, so all upgrades are final. Remember about Psychic Rape? Oh, I wish I could forget as well, but it scarred my mind forever. Besides, while mentally raping that poor girl in a demented threesome, both your characters get to choose their classes, which gives them free additional abilities. However, you're not told which abilities you will be given, so you blindly choose whatever, only hoping you're not getting screwed. And you better forget about enemies exploding into loot and gold. There are only like 3 armor sets and 5-7 weapons for each character, while gold is replaced by mysterious rating points, which is a big letdown for all RPG fans, I feel. You can upgrade your weapons, but there is also no way to know what the result of upgrading will be until you do it. You are just not told, and yes, you can never run out of trading points, it would still be nice to know what I'm spending them for. What's kinda annoying is that the game looks like crap, and I wouldn't normally pick on graphics too much, but of Orcs and Men makes so much stupid mistakes in this regard it was hard not to notice. First of all, the whole aesthetic was taken straight from Warhammer Fantasy with mild improvements, and it is okay, but I feel it needs a bit more work. Second of all, Archael's weapons. Oh, look at this crap. They're magically hovering several inches apart from his back, and I guess it would be fine if it was the case with everybody, but only orcs get screwed like that. Everybody else has proper scabbards, even Styx is sad. Archael, on the other hand, just looks retarded. And finally, texture quality is all over the place, which results in an awful overall look. Check out this face in comparison to low the farmer textures. Oh, and while you're at it, look at the main bad guy's collar. Upside down crosses. You just can't get more evil, can you? Do you know why I noticed all these details in this cutscene? Because I had to watch it about 5 times since it is unskippable. It is a cutscene before the final boss, who is the most annoying dipshit in this whole universe. Last time you can save is before entering the throne room, where you get 2 waves of easy enemies, after which you fight this bastard, who has invulnerability spells and health drained from his adds that are pretty strong themselves. Each time you die you have to go through same 2 boring waves of enemies and same unskippable cutscenes in order to try to kill him again. After failing my end strategy, dying and almost rage quitting, in my final desperation move I decided to just attack him. And it bloody worked. Simple attack spam killed the bastard, which annoyed me even more. What the hell, guys? Who freaking designed that boss fight? Nah! In conclusion, the only definition I can give to of Orcs and Men is mediocrity. It is not exactly the worst thing in the world, and it is not exactly broken, but at the same time it does nothing interesting whatsoever. It appears that something was lacking during the development, be it money, talent, or the developers are just lazy twats. I just doubt that the final result reflects at least 20% of what was an initial design document. So it can only be recommended if you have nothing better to play and desperately need to kill 11 hours. However, I would still play Dota or any other online game for that particular purpose. My name is GrrrVahrrr, and I shall see you from within my next video.
Goodbye, goodbye, see you again. Goodbye, goodbye, see you.